Welcome back to redheart.com as well as the Crochet Crowd. I'm your host Mikey, and in today's tutorial I'm going to show you how to operate Sashay to make the most incredible shawls you've ever seen. They flow, they're light, they're easy. Took me about 4 hours to make one. You can do any sachet. For example, this is the boho, this is the new yarn, and you can see it's really quite fabulous. You can see the color is trending. You see the beautiful ribbons happening at the bottom of the sachet, and this is Sashay Mini for kids, and you can see it works out. So I'm going to be showing you tips today on how to visualize this, because once you understand the concept, there's going to be no holding you back. So let's explore a little bit more about this right now. So here is a version of the shawl. It took me about 4 hours to make. You need 4 balls for the adult version, about 3 for the smaller versions. This is Sashay Mini, Sashay Boho. You can use any of the sachets. Now here's the first tip. You need to make sure that the first ball that you use that is going to be in the back of the neck area has no knots at all. So you're going to want to unravel one entire ball. Make sure there is not one knot, because when you see it like this and see it nice and flat, if you've seen a knot there, what's going to happen is that you're going to cut that knot out, but you will see a transition line that will be happening. Now there can be knots, and there was actually knots in one of the balls that I had here, but you know what, you don't see where it is because it's buried in here where it gets more rough layer. So that's just your first tip. Make sure that the first ball that you have has absolutely no knots, so that you can start from the back of the neck and get to row 4 without any issues of the yarn looking inconsistent. So you will notice that different sachets have a different look or feel to them, and for example, you'll notice that this sachet is deeper than this sachet. Not by much, but it's enough to make a difference, because it makes a difference on how it looks. Now you will notice that, see, when you pull it apart, that the whole work inside looks different than what's in this one. The only difference is that you got to be consistent. So if you're going to jump over some loops and you're always going to jump over the same, you just got to make sure you do the same thing on either one. So if your sachet is not looking like this or like this, you need to make up your own rules, and you will come up with a concept that will really work for you. So when I know I feel like I'm in Crusaders once again. I got awards for this, so it can't be that bad for a learning tool. So here is a rough cut of my sachet, and I really want to explain this to you, and there's really no better way to do it. I've already filmed this once before. I was not happy with it because I never learned nothing in the whole video too. I was so confused. Figured you're going to be as well. So I cut out this, I put it to a piece of paper, and basically you'll see that the sachet is like a mesh, right? And so on the top you're going to want to skip over every other loop when you're going to work with it from rows 1 through 6. There's 8 rows. So 1 through 6 you're going to always skip over. The reason why I'm having you do that is that every time you skip over like this, it causes an extra loop at the bottom to happen. So for example, if I go here, and when I'm going to fasten up the next one up here, and I'm skipping over the next one, it's going to cause it to double. So basically when you're working on this, and here's my next diagram, this is how it looks. We're going to come along, okay, and then we're going to sweep underneath. So see how we come around, and then we're going to start grabbing it by the stitches here and then we're going to come back around. But here's my best diagram of all. I love this. So here is exactly what's happening. So we're going to start off in the middle, and because we're jumping every other row or every other loop in the top, what's happening is that the base of it is going to get much bigger. So in actual fact, every time you do one of these from rows 1 through 6 all the way down, you're actually doubling the width every time. So this becomes double, 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 double as you do it. So when you get to rows number 8 and 9, 7 and 8, what you're going to do is, instead of going every other one, you're going to go into every one instead. Therefore the bottom will not have an increase by 1, so it'll just be consistent, because you notice that when you get to the bottom here, it is going to be so big and so roughly that if you do any more you may look like a peacock at the end of it. So it's a really great concept in order to work it. You know, with these sachets you just got to pay attention to what loops you're going into and kind of make up the rules as you go. So the whole key element in this whole particular project is understanding how that you do it when you go all the way around. So your sachet, when you really truly look at it, when one side of this row is going to have this coming down, the other side will not, and then basically it's just a matter of just going back and forth, and it's just really easy. So why don't we give this a try and see what you think. So to start with, I should unravel this first so that I can inspect my ball here to make sure that there's no knots. You do not want knots in rows 1 through 4. So let's open it up and we're just going to start. This is how easy it is. I'm gonna use a size E, a 3.5mm crochet hook today. Now you should know it doesn't really matter the size of the crochet hook because it's the actual loop that generates the gauge of this. So let's begin to get started. We need to figure out what we're going to do with this nasty edge right here, and all we just need to do is just roll it in 3 times. So there is the top first loop that's complete. This loop is obviously cut, so we're just gonna roll it to match the second loop like so, and then we're gonna roll it one more time and get the third loop. Okay, and we're going to come in from the front, okay, into the all 3 loops. So now what we're just going to do from the back to the front, we want to collect 6. Let's collect 6. So this would be 7 once it's on there. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Well, how hard is that? So because I have a comfort grip, it's gonna go down a little bit. Don't worry about it. We're only doing this for this particular row. So now what we're going to do from the front to the back, we're gonna grab the next one, which will be your number 7th really, and you're just going to pull through everything like so. Okay, so what basically we've just done is see how this is already starting to ruffle. This is how this shawl works, is that you're creating these ruffles in the bottom. We want to do that one more time. So from the back to the front we want to do 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And from the front to the back we go to the next one. Just position everything in your hands and pull through everything like this. And so now this is row 1 complete. So you can see now that you have kind of 2 stitches at the top, but look at all of this ruffle. So you can actually see that the sweeping around that it does is going to be really amazing. So how do we get from this row to the next? We'll solve that in just a moment. So I'm pulling out my fancy arts and crafts here, and this is just this is a great way to do it. I can't do this without laughing. I don't know why. So anyway, I've collected all my loops on the top. There's actually only going to be 2 here, but this is just a great way. So what we're going to do here is that we are probably right about here, and all we're just going to do now is that we need to extend down and to go into the next layer. So in actual fact we're gonna cause this to naturally turn around, and then this edge then is going to be working along this edge right here. So that's the easiest way to explain it to you. Now let me see if I can show you and see if it makes any sense. So here's where we are at this moment, and we have only 2 stitches on the top, but it doesn't really matter at this moment. And basically what I need you to do is to extend it like this, and I want you to follow this straight down to the bottom. Okay, so just follow it, just go right straight down, and I want you to insert your hook into the bottom loop here like so, and very carefully you just need to just kind of stretch this out and just grab a loop. So you're actually only skipping one and just grabbing a loop and pulling through like that. And I bet you're really confused at this point, but now I want you to grab the bottom piece and we're going to start working along the bottom piece like so. So you can see that this loop is just pulled through this bottom. We've actually just turned the corner, and maybe I should show that one more time. So I'm just gonna pull it gently. Okay, so going here we want you to look straight down. Okay, so just go straight down into the bottom loop. Okay, and then we just want to just extend the top. It's skipping about 1 loop and then just putting that onto the hook and pulling that through like so. Okay, so it's just really easy. So now I'm just naturally grabbing the bottom piece here. So when I'm grabbing through, I just look for the next available loop that's here. So I just want to insert my hook, so I'm starting row 2, insert my hook into there, and I just want to grab this. So you can see that this loop is part of the stitch that already is there. This is an empty, so this is where I'm skipping every other one and just putting it onto the hook and pulling it through as a slip stitch like so. I want to make sure that I'm not grabbing more than I need to, and that will happen because it is mesh. And so essentially I just want to open this up again, okay, and this is the next empty one. Just insert the hook, pull the mesh open on the back, you'll skip one, go to the next, and pulling through. So basically in the bottom we're going into every possible loop there is from rows 1 through 6, skipping 1 on the top end. When you get rows 7 and 8, all you just need to do is that you just need to go into every loop. So instead of skipping one here, you're going to just go into that one instead, and that will prevent it from growing. You will find by the time it gets to row number 7 that it's gonna be so roughly, and it will fit you and it will look amazing. So if you want to make this any bigger, all you just got to do is keep on going and just make it as many balls as you want to. So you just want to make sure that rows 1 through 4 have no knots in the ball. And so I'm just continually working along. It took me about 4 hours to do my shawl complete from start to finish using 4 balls of the sachet. And how will I know if I'm done this round? So you can see that if I'm looking at the bottom base here, it's kind of going in a semicircle, and all I'm just doing is I'm just going as far as I can before the semicircle just runs out. See, there's really not a lot of science to it. So I just continue to go. You will get yourself into a rhythm. I'm starting to find it now. I did my shawl about a month ago, and it's the first time I'm doing it since. You can see that it's really old habits come back really easily. So I'm just looking to where this is running out, and I'm gonna go to the last loop that's available before the ribbon on the bottom ribbon runs out, like so. Again, skipping, and then I'm gonna show you how to turn around again. Okay, so I'm going to the last one, like so. Okay, so I've got to the last one, therefore I've run out. So now row number 2 is done, and you can see now that I've just gone into a complete semicircle, just like so. So it looks actually really quite decent when you're playing with this. And let's turn around again. I'm gonna show you that one more time. And because we're going back and forth, you will notice that the ribbons will be on one side for one, and then they'll be on the back side for the other. It doesn't really matter. It's just the way it will work out. So let's begin to do row number 3. So we've run out of stitches. So again, what we're just going to do is just pull it open and go straight down. So just look down the ribbon, insert into the bottom like so, and just grabbing the thing, just I'm skipping one loop, just grabbing the mesh again, top, and just pull through that one there. And now let's just grab onto the next base. So that was how I moved down, and again it's just every other one going across the base of the ribbon area. So each one of the bases are different on different sachet products. Some of them are more roughly, or some are like this, very ribbon like. It's really kind of a unique look on how you want it to look. So when you're looking at sachet products, you might want to look at the base ribbon, because that will kind of determine the look that you're going to ultimately see. So if we're always increasing, then as we go throughout the rows, you're going to notice this is going to get bigger and bigger. Therefore it's going to take double time to get across one of these rows for each and every row. And thank goodness there's only 8 of them for the adult size, that when you're doing this. And the wonderful thing about this is that because it's so roughly, it will wrap around you quite comfortably, and you can also apply a shawl pin if you want to pin it so it doesn't fall off as well. Really easy. So you can see I'm just kind of working my way across, not really thinking about it, and I want to show you again once we get to the other side. I'm going to do the remainder off camera, and then I'll show you how to turn around once again. So I want to show you how to turn around again, and basically when you pull it open, eventually you're going to run out of this ribbon, because the ribbon is actually going to extend into the next level above. Okay, so it's just a really kind of an easy kind of concept to work with. So you're just going to want to continue along this ribbon till you feel that it's gone far enough. So you can actually, if you go too far, you're going to end up in the next row higher than what you'd want to. So I would just do it, so remember how we kind of extended and went straight down? We want to continue the same effect that when we're doing that. So I'm just kind of opening it up, and I think that I've gone enough. Do you see how if it just looks like it's enough. So if you just pull it open like this, do you see that? So now I'm ready to turn and go down the next row. So let's start the next row, and again we just look for the base, so just go straight down like this, look for the next one, in, and then grab it and pull through, and then we start on this ribbon going again across. So again, it's very easy. So what happens if you have a knot in the ball after you do the first one completely? It's very easy. Remember how I showed you how we rolled in the very beginning? You're gonna want to roll the end and also the beginning of, cut out the knot obviously, but you just have to roll the beginning and the end, and you'll just want to make sure that you crochet them two together, and what's gonna happen is that you're never gonna see it. It's actually really amazing because it's gonna have such generous ruffle. It's not something that's really gonna even concern you at that point as well. So hopefully this will give you a great idea to be able to do sachet shawls. You can do this with any of the versions of shawls or any versions of sachet. You just gotta be consistent of where you're grabbing the hook and where you're going when it comes down to the base of your sachet. Until next time, I'm Mikey on behalf of redheart.com as well as the Crochet Crowd, and we'll see you.